Well, sure, we can talk about it. I have a free
Yeah.
seminar, free well building seminar is coming up. I think the date is May 19th. May 19th, I think it's 6 or 7 p.m. You can contact us at Kommon. We can give you the link. Free well building seminar. We're going to teach you in a step-by-step process how to invest in real estate, how to organize yourself with a realtor, mortgage broker, and more important, the reasons why you should be investing in real estate rather than just buying a home and go home and sleep. Real estate is a money maker, is a wealth builder. The most common thing we hear people talking about these days is generational wealth. Generational wealth is that concept of generational wealth, folks, is tied into real estate. It's the only estate goes from generation to generation.
Welcome to the Kommon Cents Podcast. Kommon Cents make it make sense. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also check us out on Spotify at Kommon Cents University. And also check us out on all our socials at Kommon Cents University as well. So today, we have I have a close friend of mine on the podcast here. He's not only a friend, he's also one of my financial mentors, right? So I'm going to introduce him in a sec. And then we're going to walk through real estate, and we're going to do real estate 101. And I'm your host, Jackson. I'm here with my co-host, Witta. Q will join in a sec. Witta, how's it going?
It's a great feeling, man. Big up to the Kommon Cents University fraternity. We love you. I can only answer, guys. We love you, ladies. We love you, gentlemen. You know what I mean? We love the support. We love the energy. And we love the fact that our contents are being reshared. No problem. Just tag us.
Love that. Mr. Corbin.
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
man. How's it going?
Good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your podcast. It's going excellent. Can't complain. Just keep pushing forward. Every day is a new day. So it's good.
Living the dream.
Absolutely.
All right. So before we jump into the questions, just wanted to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Frank Corbin, and why real estate?
It was pretty simple. Frank Corbin is just a simple little kid, grew up in a small little town in a poor little country in South America, and got an opportunity to, in my early teens to go to New York City and start my studies there. And later on in my early adult life, I came over to Canada, and when I come to Canada, and to me, Canada was a small town coming from New York City. So everything seems so small and slow. So I made it one of my first objectives. I'm become very rich in this country, and that's because there was so many opportunities available, but not too many people are taking advantage of them. So from a very young age, I started a business. Started my first business called Thinkers Movers. If you can think it, I can move it. 19 years old, I started a moving company. Within 6 months being in Canada.
Wow.
I started moving stuff right across the GTA and did very well for myself. Ended up having about close to, I would say about 3 trucks, 10 employees within 6 to 8 months time frame. I was very aggressive with it. Doing about $250,000 revenue, $60,000 profit. At 19 years old, I thought I was rich. And then I decided that was too much bit of a hard work. So I transitioned from that into car sales. Start buying cars from the auction, fix them up, sell them back. And that worked well. And then then the car business started shrinking. Because what happens now, the guys from Montreal, they come and buy the Japanese vehicle. We predominantly focus on Japanese vehicles. That's what everybody wanted in the GTA.
Right.
So because it was so difficult to get the Japanese vehicles in Quebec and different parts of the country, they would come to Ontario and buy it. And so when the competition comes into the space, they start overpaying for the cars and drop the profits. Okay, so then for the moving company, we've tried that, make some money, it starts shrinking. When 2-man and a truck came into play, all the small movers get crushed. So move from that into the car sales business. The big guys come into play, you get crushed. Again, so it says we got to find a business that when more competition comes into the space, we make more money because you can't keep going from business to business to business to business. At some point in time, you're actually selling your experience for cheap. Because if you keep moving, you're always learning new things all the time. So once we get involved in the real estate investment space, realize that if I buying properties here and you come next door buying properties because you're trying to compete with me, my property values goes up and my property values keep going up. And the more people participate, it goes up. So like, it makes sense. That's why real estate.
A light bulb went
Beautiful.
on right there, huh?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So at
Oh man.
21 years of age, I contact a realtor, nice guy, and I said I want to buy an investment property because at this time I started buying a lot of books and CDs and going to seminars and workshops. I'm trying to learn from everybody, just grabbing information because it's a new space to me again, right? And I met a realtor said, I want to buy a property. And he says, come meet my office. Go sit in the guy's office. The guy says, Frank, how much money you got? I said, like 15, 20 grand. You're like, why don't you take this money and go back to school and get a university degree or something like that? And I took myself out of his office and I ran. I thought I was doing something bad. I was scared because why
Yeah.
is the guy telling me, like, which salesman decline a business, decline your business,
Right,
right?
right.
So I just ran and said, forget it. Maybe it's not for me. And I move on. And the following year come up, I met another realtor. He was more hungry than the first guy. And he said, oh, sure, I can get you a property. And what he did, he dropped off. That time, the MLS was books, three big, thick books at my doorstep. He says, you go through these. And if you find anything you like, you get back to me. He's like,
Wait, that's how they used to do MLS?
that's correct. It was like an
No
encyclopedia.
way. You know,
Yes,
I
right.
never thought about that because
Uh,
before the internet,
Yes,
like
right.
how do you go through and like catalog and so it used to be books.
Books like these big encyclopedias go like by region, maybe Toronto, then York, and then New York, and whatever it is, right? By region. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Go to these books and you pick your properties, all black and white, no colored.
Well, the interest and the interest and energy was there, so it didn't matter, right?
It didn't matter. Well, you didn't know we didn't have any other we don't have any other comparison.
Exactly.
It
It
wouldn't
was
matter.
like the internet. The book was like the internet.
Exactly. So I went to these books and I picked a few properties, went out with a guy, and he says, we didn't like none of the ones you showed us. So by studying a lot of these courses and listening to all these successful entrepreneurs and real estate investors, and it says, even though you have a realtor, you still should be going out and monitor your local neighborhood, check and see what's available, what's to buy and what's for sale. And then you contact your realtor and give him the address, and he or she would get you into the property. And one day I'm
Right.
riding down the street in my neighborhood, and I saw this nice, beautiful brick building. Looks like a building to me, but what it was is actually a triplex, three family homes, two upstairs in the basement. And I took a picture, not took an address, contact the guy, said, I want to see this property. He make a couple of phone calls, went look at the property, signed, sealed, and delivered. That's my first property I purchased.
What year was that?
That was 1997 in South
He's
Etobicoke.
trying to show up your age, Be careful. It's a tricky question.
Again, in this business, age comes with money because again, that's the
Oh,
longer you're in the,
experience.
yeah, the longer you're in the
Not just
field,
experience, but
the longer you
equity.
own properties, the more money you make. And
Okay.
the more people come into the space, the value goes up.
Good one. Good one.
So being an
So
old
that's
real estate investor is not a bad thing.
so
I'm
so
glad
so
you're telling
Frank,
that.
you have three decades of real estate experience.
Not yeah, somewhat getting there.
Yeah,
You see
two
what
more
I'm
years.
talking about, right?
Yeah,
You see what I'm
getting
talking
Three
about?
decades.
yeah, getting there. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It getting there. I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, to me, it's all you take care of yourself and all that stuff, right? And
exactly, exactly.
and Kamar, know this one thing we big on is not only money, but being healthy as well. So
Being
yeah, a
healthy.
big part of our
Health
program.
is wealth.
Yes, that's right.
Let me so let me ask you another question. So in terms of your real estate journey now, you're well experienced. You have a huge portfolio of clients, customers, and all of that. What sets you apart from other real estate professionals?
Oh, I am. an investor before I'm a salesperson. So I invest, I buy exactly what I sell. And that's because I believe in my product. If I'm going to tell you
Yeah,
buy this house, you're going to do well, you're going to make money. What happened to me? I can't make money too.
just like that.
If your portfolio grow, mine should be growing as well. So that's what set me apart of most realtors out here. I buy the properties as well, sometimes even before my clients.
What are some of the benefits of working with a realtor?
Realtors have, if a good realtor would have an insight of your market, would have a good insight of your local area, would have access to information that you wouldn't have access to, would pay attention to things that you're not paying attention to. Most times you just want a house to go home and sleep and enjoy your family. Your kids go to local school. If you're buying as a home to live in, if you're buying as an investor, all you want a house that is for cheap, that you think will go up in value later on. That's what the average person is going to do. A good realtor would also make sure there's employment in the area, there's a rentability in the area. Even if you're going to live there and not invest with your family, the futuristic value should be there in that area, and that comes with the sometimes the commercial space or the entertainment space that surrounds that local community. So it's not just a house, sign the contract here, go home and sleep. You don't want to buy a house today for $500,000, and 10 years from now it's only worth 550,000. It's only worth or worth 450. So good realtor will make sure is the market research is done to cover all those bases.
And
Okay.
you mentioned MLS. Do you want to give us a quick, just a quick explanation of what that is?
So the MLS is called a multiple listings system, multiple listing services, and what it is a database that hosts real estate of your local area, of your country, of your city. So the realtor they have to go on that listing service and get information on properties that's for sale or being sold already. And that's how they make the decision to say you pay high, pay low, or don't buy at all if the property is too overvalued, whatever it is. So in that
Mm.
system has information that the average person wouldn't know and can't see. So for instance, if you see a property in the market for sale and the property hasn't sold in 3 months and you don't know why, based on our research, we can tell why. Either the property is overpriced, either the seller is being hardball, he's not flexible for his number, he's not flexible for time for close. So many things that database would show us that you wouldn't be able to see on the outside as an average person.
I see. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. I
So
knew that it has the listing of the houses, but I didn't know it went that in depth with the details of the properties.
Yeah, also
Um,
a good
yeah.
realtor would also, for instance, if a guy's selling a property, again, the example, selling a property, if let's say for $500,000 and the property in the market for 6 months and is not selling, a good realtor can tell what he purchased for that property. Maybe he bought it for 459, so he can't sell it for more less than 500,000. Or maybe the guy bought a property for 120,000 15 years ago, but because the market is slow, we can say let's lowball him because he paid a lot less back then. He can probably take 450, he can take 400,000, he can take 350. The database shows those information, so
Okay.
it can go in your favor as well.
I hear that, people.
look like Jackson is about to be a competitor in that business, you know.
Compete with who? With Frank? You know, it would take me a few years, like about 30.
So it's always we always welcome new energy to the space.
That is it.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there's always room for lots more to grow. And the question is not even coming into the space. The question is, what are you bringing that's different from everyone else? Because there's a lot of realtors out there. What's special about you? You have to have something special to hit it big in the market these days. If you don't have anything special, you're just gonna be another person who's taking a small chunk out of the pie. And when I say special, it means like let's assume we're selling 10 homes in this area every month. With that 10 homes, we have um, 10 realtors. So each realtor sell one home. You want to come into that space. you gotta cut somebody out, or you're taking a chunk of a bunch of everybody. So you're not really special. You're not making a lot of money. So what's special about you now, if you can come into that same space and rather than selling 10 homes, now we're selling 15 homes, and the five extra is what you're selling because you're offering something different to the industry. And that's what makes a successful realtor today. You have to create your own market space in the industry that in the industry is already existing. When you can do that, you make money. Then you're really magical.
That's something special. That's definitely something special.
That's right. Yeah.
Love that. All right. So the other thing that you need, or the other type of service that you need, when you're purchasing a house, is a lawyer, right? Um, do you recommend consulting a lawyer when you're purchasing a house?
Absolutely. Lawyers are key to real estate. A lawyer is the foundation. He or she can make and break that deal. He or she can save you a lot of heartaches, future heartaches. And when I say future heartaches, I'm not talking a month or 2 or 3 months from now. I'm talking about 20, 30 years from now. If that lawyer make a mistake on your initial transaction, that can affect your property 30, 40 years past this time. So a lawyer is mandatory for real estate. Most people would not understand what a real estate contract has in it. So a lawyer would be able to break it down, go through it, and make sure all those things are working in the best interest of you, the buyer or the seller.
No, I remember having a conversation and somebody said that there's a lot of persons that actually are purchasing houses without a lawyer. I was very surprised because I'm like, you know, that's risky.
It's
It's very risky, you know.
extremely
I
risky.
don't say it's possible, like, it's definitely possible. People do it, but yeah, man, I would definitely recommend it. Um, how do economic factors now, like let's say interest or inflation, affect the housing market?
Oh, in fact, it's like almost um, directly, like almost immediate, direct within a few months. Interest rate is a high factor when it comes to real estate. Depends what country you're in. We have something called controlled economy, where the government actually can control your real estate values to some point based on policies, government policies.
Yeah.
Interest rate is one of them. Amortization, mortgage policies, all these things would affect real estate. So the economy has a direct impact. The economy can affect, if something going on in the economy can affect the rental market. It can affect the sale and resale market. So there's so many things that from an economical perspective, you need to pay attention to if you're a real estate investor. Homeowner, don't really matter. They buy a home, go home and sleep 20 years after it's paid off, 25 years paid off, you're good. But if you're an investor, you're looking to maximize your finances through real estate. You want to pay attention to all government policies that affects your industry.
So, in terms of interest rate, right? So, for the average person, could you explain, like, why, a higher interest rate could mean, lower house prices, or why a lower interest rate could mean higher house prices?
So higher interest rate means lower house prices, predominantly most of the times because when the interest rate goes up, the carrying costs for that property increases, your mortgage payment increases. When that happens, real estate sales slow down. When the real estate sales slow down, the guy who wants to sell his property fast, they're going to sell his property for cheap. He's going to drop his price because he wants to sell. So that's what tends to happen. When interest rate goes up, property price tends to come down to accommodate the market.
So it's a classic supply and demand.
Absolutely, always.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned the different types of markets in terms of buyers and sellers. Do you want to just expound on that a little bit? What's the difference between the buyer's market and the seller's market?
Well, the buyer's market is when everything is cold and gloomy and doomy and nobody wants to participate in real estate. And that's the time the values come down. And that's the time you need to get involved and start buying. Seller's market is when everything is hot and ready, interest rate is low, the bidding war is going on. Everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Johnny's talking about real estate. Even your taxi drivers giving you real estate advice. That's the seller's market.
So basically, when nobody's talking about it, that's when you need to buy
That's the
because,
time you do.
there's
That's right.
not a lot of noise in the market. I think, is it Bill Gates or Warren Buffett? One of them say, when you see people running from a stock, that's the time you buy it,
Yeah, things more.
right? And when you see people running to buy it, that is why when you stay away, that's when you sell.
That's right.
Warren Buffett, right? Yeah.
And another key factor when it should be a good buying time is when you have major um, incidents, unforeseen incident that affects the economics in the country. For instance, if there's a hurricane, everybody starts selling their property or the property price drop, or so that's a good time to buy. High what do you call it again? Economic upturn, like where we had the financial crisis, which affect the whole world. It was a global crisis. That was a perfect time to buy real estate anywhere in the world. You'd make good money. So those you look at those things as well. Those things would affect the market, and at that point in time, even when the interest rate is low, the market still goes low because the government dropped interest rate to accommodate the market, but the price don't go up during those times.
Yeah, because it wasn't a lot. Well, one of the reasons they dropped it was because there wasn't a lot of activity in the market, right?
That's
Not
right.
just the real estate market, but overall.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, man, love that. All right. What are some different types of mortgages that are available? And how does someone know like which one to choose?
Um, well, mortgage is tricky because it's based on a person um is based on a person comfort level. There is variable rate mortgage, which goes up and down as the government changes financial policies and you change the interest rate, it goes up and down. If you have a high risk tolerance, you want to go to variable based mortgage. It's pretty much like an open mortgage that goes up and down. Then you have a fixed rate for a short term, like a fixed rate for like 5 years or 6 years or 3 years. You can go with that as well. That's for a person more conservative. And depends what country you're in. You have like a 30 years fixed term, which you got one interest rate and it's the same for 30 years. No matter what happened in the world, it's never going to change.
I would love that at 2%.
Everyone will love that at 2%.
I think that's in the US. They have the longer term mortgages.
30
I think
years.
in Jamaica they also have longer term mortgages as well.
There you go.
Yeah, in Canada it's a little bit different. But yeah, man, thanks for clarifying that. And how does somebody qualify for a mortgage? Like what are some things that lenders are looking at?
Lenders look for three key factors: income, credit, credibility, your ability to pay back, and your capital, how much money you bring to the table. Those are the three key factors, and also your debt load as well. But those are three key factors. The creditor will look at you, or the banks when they go take an application to process your mortgage. So
Hold
income,
on, let's
credit,
break it down a little bit.
income means do you have enough money to purchase this house? Credit is what is your financial history? Do you have a history of borrowing and paying back on time? Depends which country you go, they have a credit score that monitors that. If the credit is good, then we go to down payment now. Now you want to buy this house. I want to finance a house for you as the bank. What capital are you putting down? How much money are you putting down on this property? So, for instance, the property is selling for $100,000. Banks gonna want you to put anywhere between 5%, 10%, up to 20%. So you'll put $5,000 deposit down, $10,000 deposit, or your 20%, $20,000 deposit down. Okay. And so if you put 20% down, which is 20,000, the bank would issue now a mortgage of 80,000. That's the difference. Okay. So that means
Yeah.
that you are financially invested in this property just as much as the bank. So they do that based on your ability to stay committed to this mortgage over that 20 years, 30 years period of time that you guys both agree on.
And I think one of our recent podcasts, we are talking to a banker, and he was telling us that they have that system in Jamaica now.
Which
One of the
system?
Jamaicans listening, which is the credit system,
The
right?
credit system.
And he was mentioning even your utility bills, like some of your utility bills, if you don't pay them on time, it affects your credit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
And it
you
should.
know.
And it should. Yeah. You see, the thing is, real estate is not new. Real
Yeah,
estate is over 1,000-year-old is the business. It's been around forever. It's the only um, usable product you can purchase, and that goes up in value over the last 1,000+ years. Anything else is speculation. Housing is mandatory. You can buy gold, you can buy silver, you can buy oil, you can buy stocks. Real estate mandatory. You have to have real estate. And with
have
that
to.
in mind, if you live in any country and you don't own real estate, you're missing out on some of the easiest money you can ever make. Real estate should
So
be man. Every family should have real estate.
no, you were talking
I
about
think
the
I think I need to join the real estate business.
I think you should.
wait, Frank,
Give the music a break
well,
and start, you know?
you want to talk about that upcoming seminar now, or you want to?
Well, sure, we can talk about it. I have a free
Yeah.
seminar, free well building seminar is coming up. I think the date is May 19th. May 19th, I think it's 6 or 7 p.m. You can contact us at Kommon. We can give you the link. Free well building seminar. We're going to teach you in a step-by-step process how to invest in real estate, how to organize yourself with a realtor, mortgage broker, and more important, the reasons why you should be investing in real estate rather than just buying a home and go home and sleep. Real estate is a money maker, is a wealth builder. The most common thing we hear people talking about these days is generational wealth. Generational wealth is that concept of generational wealth, folks, is tied into real estate. Is the only estate goes from generation to generation. Anything else, you speculate in. So free wealth building seminar. We have the link later on for you guys. You can register. It's absolutely free. It's a webinar. So you can log in from anywhere in the world and listen to what we discuss in real estate. And my strategies are so thorough and effective, it can apply anywhere in the world.
Well, I'm definitely going to be a part of it. That's a must.
So I'm glad
interest.
you asked the question with her because I didn't remember about it.
You piqued my interest.
Yeah, man. So if you're in Jamaica, if you're in US, if you're in Canada, you can definitely attend that seminar. So looking forward to that. I always try to attend in person, but this one is going to be virtual, so definitely attending. I won't have to buy a ticket for that one. But there you have it. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with us. Going to take it from there, right? Common sense, make it make sense.
Common sense, make it make sense, and that's what we are about here. And we have our special guest, who's giving us the 101 that we need to know as it relates to purchasing a home, or if you're just interested to be a realtor. Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How you doing, Witter?
I'm doing great. I wanted to let you know that I follow your podcast and so forth, and it's very interesting. So for persons who are just joining us, could you tell them what's the name of that podcast?
Oh, my podcast is called Why Are You Inc. Young and Rich University. So the whole concept is that if you invest while you're young or when you're young, you should be able to retire young and rich using.
That's definitely a mentality to want everyone to have. You know what I mean?
Using the number one product of the world, which is real estate.
Yes. So if you're just joining us, you can also check out this podcast. Go ahead and type it in, subscribe, and also make sure you're subscribing to us if you're a part of his fan base joining us. Common Sense, Young and Rich.
That's right.
What better way to start this world?
Absolutely. Actually,
all right, so Frank,
in order to retire young and rich, you have to have a common sense approach.
Exactly. You see? you tied it up right here. So I'm going to ask the basic questions, like persons who are looking to purchase a home. Like, for example, when buying a home, what's the basic thing that they need to know? How long does it take? How do I start?
Well, it depends. If you're buying a resale home, that deal can probably close within 30 to 60 days or sometimes even less. And that's probably a good way to start. Most people buying their first home is going to probably be a resale home. If you have a bit more capital and you want to go a bit nicer, bigger, more expensive, you can do a brand new home, or what we call a pre-construction home from a builder. That can take anywhere between a year, 2 years, depends on how long the builder takes to close that house or build that house for you.
So the step is for example, bring me through the step. There's common sense and all different type of persons are watching. And this buying a home is a universal thing. It doesn't matter. We just want to know the basics.
Right.
So do I call Frank and said I'm looking for a house in this area?
Absolutely. The first person you call is your realtor.
And in this case, it's Frank. And the number to call Frank is?
Yeah. because
What's the number to call Frank?
sorry,
What's the number to call Frank
oh,
if persons want contact?
1-888-88 remake. It's pretty simple. 1-888-88 remake. That's my office line.
Okay, okay. And what are some of the challenges you meet when persons contact you? What are the main concerns?
The number one challenge we experience in this industry is people want what they can't afford. As you says, beer pot,
That's the world.
champagne taste.
That's the world we live in.
I can guarantee almost every house a person's gonna fall in love with, they can't afford to own it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Can imagine.
Yes.
So how do you
can
take them
attest.
from that? How do you take them from that stage to say, hey, this is your budget. I can get you as close as possible to this,
Switch,
and break even with it.
switch their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you come to me, you're not buying a home, you're buying an investment property. Even if you can live in it. So if I educate you on the benefits of real estate on a financial perspective, your dream goes away of a double car garage and 6 bedrooms and all that goes away in 2 seconds.
Okay,
It's
okay.
because now you know
All
you're
right,
gonna hit
fair enough.
coming. So it's because what happens is it breaks down your dream that's not gonna happen. So now give you a new dream that's going to happen. That house you want, you have to buy it in your third property. While you get there, you got to start with this small one first. And the small one gets you to the medium one. And once you get these two, you can get equity from these two and buy your dream home. Now you can really afford to buy the house you're thinking of or your wife is thinking of. So it's just a mindset of what you want versus what the market going to give to you.
Okay.
And once you
Can I just ask
go ahead.
sorry, can I just ask a quick question? Because you mentioned equity a few times. So
Yeah.
for the starter person, what is equity? Like,
Okay,
how would you explain that?
equity is pretty simple. You buy a house at $500,000. 2 years, 3 years pass, that house is now worth $600,000. So you have $100,000 in equity. That's what the market affords you based on the value going up. So if you're going to sell that house today, you sell it for $600,000. You walk with $100,000 minus your expense. So that's your equity. So you can sell a house, take the equity out, or you can refinance a house and take a portion of the equity house and move on to buy a second or third property.
Okay, totally understand. So I'm sure. Thanks for that, Jackson. So they have a clear understanding.
Yeah.
Because we're all about common sense. It's about breaking it down for them.
Absolutely. We can go all night.
Okay. So how do I determine, or you help the person who's purchasing a home determine their budget? Because again, you see the main thing that you find is them want something that. So how do they, or you make sure that they determine their budget? What type of approach you take?
But the banks require 3 things: income, credit, and down payment. So they put those 3 things into a formula, and it tells you how much home you can afford to buy based on a price point. And then the realtor now take that information and go on the road and find your a house within that price, within that budget, within that range, whether it's $500,000, $600,000, or $1 million.
And they're able to find out.
That's right. So income, credit, and down payment is what affords you a home. Now, that price can decrease based on your debt ratio. So as high as your debt on other things, that 600,000 now becomes 459 or 559, and the more debt you have, that number comes down, because then you become more of a financial risk to the bank.
Naturally.
But let's assume your first time buy, you have no debt. You're purely going to judge your income, credit, and your down payment.
Love that.
Yeah.
No, there's an approach where we need to do a house inspection.
Right.
What is a house inspection and how important it is?
So a home inspection is, I would assume, a mandatory process when you're buying a resale home, an older home, a home over 5, 10, 15, even the day old. Once it's a resale home, you should do a home inspection. And that's because a lot of times the older homes don't have any warranties. So an inspector goes in and strip that property from top to bottom, look through everything to see what's the condition each things are in, from your appliances to your air conditioner to your furnace, hot water tank. It goes through the full thing, the structure of the home, the insulation of the home. It goes through everything for the home, the exterior, the water system, electrical system, to make sure what the home you're buying is in good condition. That person have a more in-depth eye of real estate than even the realtor, your banker, your mortgage broker, and even you as the buyer. And if you get a good home inspector, he would then give you a report, just like a big book again, a big book to go through, or he would go through it with you to make sure you understand what problem the property have or what good things the property have. Once you get a
history of the property.
Sorry?
And also the history of the property. Is that included?
No, but you probably won't know the history. You just go by what he's seen from the eyes today. Okay? You can assume where this furnace was built 10 years ago, if there's a date on it, or the roof was built how many years ago. Again, that's all assume. Okay? But he would give you the current status of the property, the condition it's in. And he would go through step by step what need to be fixed immediately, would it can probably stay in good condition 5 years, 10 years down the line, and then you make a decision from there moving forward, whether you want to buy that house or not.
In Jamaican term, we say, no need to buy a puss in bag. So therefore, you need to know what you're buying.
Exactly. That exactly.
You need to know what you're buying.
Yes.
So it's
I think they have a
valuator. It's
valuator.
mandatory to get a lawyer, and it's mandatory to get the inspector to come and inspect them.
Yeah. Lawyers are mandatory, home inspector is mandatory, sometimes even appraisal is mandatory.
Have you seen anybody try to boycott that just to try to save themselves money?
Inspection, they bypass all the time. That's very common. But lawyers, they normally don't. Inspection, they bypass their own inspection all the time. Because again, people see the post looks nice and beautiful, and they buy it. They avoid the inspection process, meaning that if the house look good, if it's dressed up nicely, if it's staged well, people feel confident that they're buying a good home, and they would bypass the inspection process because they don't really understand what the inspector is really doing, how deep he goes beyond the surface level to make sure that wall that's painted nice, make sure there's no moisture in that wall. It's not a leaky basement or not a leaky wall. Water's not coming in. Sometimes it might look clean on the inside, but the inspector have what we call something a thermal meter that tells the temperature of the wall, and it can tell you if there's moisture in that wall. And if there is moisture in that wall, I mean, when there's a heavy rainfall, water might be coming through. When it comes through slowly, and you won't know until 5 years down the line when it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair that wall. So inspection should be mandatory in every, especially resale purchase.
I'm glad you point that out. So I want you guys go ahead and make sure that you actually do the inspection. No, it's about the 101 of the business. I don't think you're giving away any secret, but I have a few questions to ask.
Sure.
I'm looking to buy a home. How do I negotiate a price? Right? And what are some of the strategies that I need to know when I'm doing this?
Well, when you're buying a home, first you got to understand what's high priority for you. Is to have a cheap home or to have a good property you can enjoy for the rest of your life. Once you understand that, then price normally is not the major factor. So my concern as a home purchaser is when I drive that driveway every day, I'm proud of what's going to be in the inside. Okay, so I do not study price as much as I study the value I'm getting. Okay, now price is important if you're on a budget. So what you want to buy is the best property within your budget. The way real estate works these days is very difficult to get good pricing because the market controls the price. So why would Kumar sell a house for $500,000 when everybody in the neighborhood selling it for $650,000? Okay, now you would probably never do that. Now, if you catch Kumar in a desperate situation of circumstances, you might get a few dollars off. If Kumar has an effective realtor, that price is not going down. Why? Because the less Kumar sell that property for is the less commission that realtor makes. So
Mm.
our realtor is
They're
going to
putting into
protect him, make
commission.
sure that price stay high as much as possible. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult these days to get good pricing on real estate. And so I tell folks, don't worry the pricing, focus on the value that you're getting. The only way you can get good pricing on real estate is buying it in pre-construction, 2-3 years before the market catches up. So you can probably buy a property and get almost instant equity. Pre-construction would do that for you. By the time the property is built, go ahead, Kumar. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I have a question, but we said a while ago that's a life lesson. It's a principle you can apply to life, right?
Right.
Don't look at the price, look at the value.
Right.
Now you said pre-construction, right? So in Jamaica terms, that's like NHT. But could you tell me a little, just explain pre-construction a little bit?
Right. So pre-construction works this way. The property is worth $600,000. You give the builder $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of your deposit. He or she going to do all the hard work, material, labor, costs, government policies, permits. And in 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, he can deliver a home right to you. And during that 1 year, 2 year process, take him to build a house. You organize your mortgage and the rest of your down payment or deposit to close off that property. In that time frame there, depends on where you're at in the world, that $40,000 you give to the builder can probably give you about $100,000, $150,000 in equity or 40% on top of your money. During the process of waiting for the builder to build that house, you pay no mortgage, you pay no property tax, you pay no maintenance fee, you pay no water rates, you pay no utilities, you pay absolutely nothing. And the builder go do all the hard work for you and deliver you a brand new home. Most of the times, that home is under warranty. So there's something wrong with our property within the first year to 2 years to 7 years, depends on the country or the builder's warranty. You're covered. They're coming and fix it absolutely within a reasonable time.
Thanks for that question, tomorrow about breaking it down so we all can understand. Now, being a homeowner is a serious business, but a lot of persons don't understand the responsibilities of being a homeowner. Can we talk about it?
They don't want to be responsible of owning a home?
They don't understand
okay.
the responsibilities of owning a home.
Okay, so when you own a home, your problem starts.
I don't think that's how you want to start it.
No, I'm just kidding. So
let's rewind. Let's start again.
When you use the word like responsibility, that gets everyone scared. You gotta be responsible.
One would say to buy the house is easy, but to keep it is the hard part.
That is correct.
Exactly.
That is correct. That is correct.
So let's talk about the responsibilities.
So the responsibility
as a homeowner.
The responsibility of owning a home is you have to pay the property taxes, whereas monthly, yearly, quarterly, depends on where you're located. You got to pay the property taxes, you got to pay the utilities, water, hydro. Sometimes you have gas, you have to pay that. You also have to pay maintenance of that property. If you have a leaky roof, you got to fix it. You have a leaky pipe, you have to fix it. You got to do landscaping. These are all you got to maintain the house. Whether it's the exterior, you got to paint it, whatever it is, wash the bricks frequently. So these are all things that you're responsible as a homeowner for.
But Frank, when I hear you say the biggest one, man.
What's that? For the
mortgage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's given. Yeah, absolutely. The mortgage as well.
I was waiting.
Yes. Yeah, the mortgage as well. So these are things you're responsible for on a monthly basis. And you got to make sure that property is in good shape consistently, especially if you want it to hold the value or even appreciate in value for future sale.
Or even renting. If you're renting,
that's correct.
Possible renting.
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we talk about the responsibilities.
Yeah.
What are the benefits, though?
The benefits is you have the pride tag on your shoulders of home ownership. You own a part of your country. You own estate, so you can transfer
That's
it to
a championship belt to show.
Absolutely. Probably better than most.
Great feeling.
Belts, actually. You're a homeowner. You own part of your country. You own part of your community. You get appreciation. That property goes up in value. You can transfer that property to your kids, next generation or two beyond you. You can take money out of that house and buy a second and third as you move on. You can literally change your whole family financial structure by just buying one simple dirty house. It can really change your whole dynamics of everything you stand for. All your dreams can come true. All the imaginary things your wife have, you can deliver to her. It's just come in time. It's not come right away. It comes in time. All the things your kids want, they can have. You can. It's so crazy that I can build your child's future before they become an adult through real estate.
So
I can tell
owning a
you
home can save your marriage.
it can save your marriage. Absolutely. Because if your wife dream come true, she make yours come true as well. So
Happy
yeah,
wife, happy life, right?
that's what it said. Absolutely, absolutely. So it's so many benefits to it. Again, I tell everyone do your research because I'm biased. I've been doing real estate all my life, so I'm kind of biased. So, but you can do your research and see what real estate can do for you. It can really, really have a big impact. Again, we talk about a lot of people talk about generational wealth. Generational wealth is not an easier product to use than real estate to do generational wealth. It's easy transferable. It's easy. So many things you can do with real estate that really make put a big change in your family financial structure.
With that said, just to go over a few things, as it relates to make sure I protect the value of my, is there anything that I can do in the market place of um, the business, or what can I do to make sure I protect the value
The value
or
of your
upgrade the
house.
value? Mm-hmm.
You can just maintain the exterior and interior of the property. Make sure your property features is current. So you probably should be upgrading, do a thorough upgrade in the kitchen and bathroom.
Every 5 year, I do upgrade on my kitchen, or every
No,
10
no,
year.
every 10, 15 years. Every 10,
Yeah.
15 years. If you do it right, it can even be 15, 20 years if you do it right.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you upgrade the kitchen and bath, that's going to be your biggest cost. Um, the other thing you can do is do your roof. People are always concerned about roof. Nobody wants a leaky house. So you change your roof, depends on how long the warranty on the first one. Every 15, 20 years again, change your roof.
Mhm.
Okay, and all of that is just the regular maintenance, cut your lawn and maintain the exterior of the house, stairs and these kind of things. So that's what it is. Yeah, just maintain that and your values stay up to par with the market. But don't go crazy. Don't over upgrade your house. You lose money if you do that.
So don't decide to
Don't add that.
go ahead and pimp up the
Don't
house.
one of the worst thing people do in real estate, they try to build a dream home into from a whole home. Don't do that.
Ooh, that's important. Repeat that again for me, please.
Don't build your dream home into an old home. Don't do that. Because you might put
That's like taking a vintage car and putting a lot of things into it.
that's
Doesn't change
correct.
the price.
You're trying to make a vintage car modern. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because the thing with real estate, you might do a lot of stuff at the house. It might look good to you. The market not going to pay that price for that house in that neighborhood. You understand that?
That's exactly what
Yeah.
it is.
They're not paying that price for that house in that neighborhood. Now, that house will go for that price in the other neighborhood, but you're not over there. You're over here. Over upgrade. Do not over
It's
upgrade your house.
definitely where you're located.
That's correct.
That makes a big difference.
Don't over upgrade your house.
Well, we're going to take a break and we're back with questions with Q. And it's all about common sense, make it make sense, Kommon Cents University. And we have our guest here, Frank, giving us some major points that is needed when purchasing a home or even entering the business. We'll be back shortly.
Common sense, make it make sense. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Good to have you here, Frank.
Thank you.
First question for someone who's watching this, and we hear all the positive stuff, but what are some of the common mistakes a first-time home buyer make, and what would you tell them to avoid?
Buying a property in the wrong neighborhood with the good intention of usage. That's the number one mistake a lot of people make out here. So
Number one.
the concept is, and this is the rule to avoid making that mistake. You buy the smallest house in the best neighborhood than buying the biggest house in a terrible neighborhood. So if your budget is low, but you need a big house, you might want to sacrifice the space, the size of the house a little bit and buy into the right location. In the right location, the value can go up so fast, you can be able to upgrade in the same location to a bigger house in a short time frame. You got to sacrifice somehow. Don't sacrifice your location. You can sacrifice the size of your house.
I like the way how you mention it, but you also corrected it. I like that. What are some of the red flags to watch for when you're buying your home or buying an investment property?
A house that's newly painted.
Because some of these people listening to you,
yes,
everybody look at the kitchen and the bathroom,
mm-hmm.
and then they've been sold.
Yes.
How much is it to put in a new cupboard?
Well, it varies. Depends on what size kitchen and all that kind of stuff. It can be cheaper. Your kitchen can go anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000. Depends on what kind of house and all that kind of stuff. But a house that's newly painted, one might question how terrible it was. How much did that previous owner maintain that property? Why it has to be painted right now? What's behind that wall that I can't see? It could be mold, could be whatever was happening behind that wall. I really can't see, but it looks nice and new. And when it's nice and new, it fluffs the purchaser's mind, and she move on and buy because they're happy. It looks like it's perfectly done. So when you see a house perfectly done, a bit of a red flag for me.
Never thought about that.
I never thought about that.
I mean,
what about
unless it's a brand new home from the builder, then it's more trusted. But a resale home that's looks perfect, you got to make sure you do your home inspection. That's where home inspection comes into play.
Yeah. So I was about to ask, what if they say one of their criteria is no inspection?
Yeah, then there's a risk that purchaser take.
What?
Buy as is.
But sometimes in foreclosure, you do go through that.
Yes, but then in foreclosure, you buy as is, but you're also buying as is at a very low price. So you get paid to take on that risk. So if you get a property $100,000, $200,000 below market price, and when you buy, you realize there's something wrong with you, got to spend $50,000 to fix it up, you're still ahead for the most part, right? So, but if you buy a house that's full market price, it looks perfectly done, and then it's $50,000 worth of work to be done, then you overpaid, number one, then you have to go fix your repairs again. So that's a problem. And the other thing people should pay attention to, you guys mentioned a couple of times, avoiding using professionals. You never want to not do your own inspection, number one. Number two, you never not want to use your lawyer. A lawyer can do title search on that property. That property can have liens upon liens years before you, and it has not shown up. A good lawyer will do the research to make sure that property is free and clear of all previous liens when it transfers into your name. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind when you're buying a house. Do not skip the professional process.
How can one avoid overpaying or making a bad investment on a property?
Don't get caught up with the fancy, nice looking things. That's what makes people overpay. They get excited. It's nice. The other thing that people overpay for a property when they see this competition, they feel they have to win. There can be another house down the street selling next week, next month. Might not be as nice, but you're not going to pay $100,000 above this one. So the excited emotions what gets them overpaying for real estate. All their logic goes away when they start behaving in that manner.
Well, I think you did answer this question already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are some of the benefits of investing in real estate?
Investing in real estate, the number one benefit is you have all the responsibility of a house: mortgage, utilities, water, property taxes, maintenance. You have all the responsibility on a property, but somebody else pays it for you, which is the tenant. Couldn't get it better than that. Of course, you have insurance as well, right? So I have all these responsibilities. The responsibility doesn't gone away. It's still there. But now I have someone that's paying it for me. It's called a tenant or tenants if you have multiple.
Yeah, so yeah, the renting, yeah.
That's right. So that's the number one benefit of buying real estate investment. Also, there's a what do you call it again? There's tax incentive to buying real estate. All those expense goes against income from that property or personal income. Again, you get a tax benefit while they pay everything for you.
I like that one because I've been told that on the tax side, the property value go down, but on the value side, it goes up.
Yeah. No, it depends on what you're doing. If you depreciating your property during taxes, of course it's going down. You don't want to do that. But if you just file in regular taxes, all you do is showing the expense on the property against the property income or your income as well. Because sometimes there's an overage, it goes against your personal income as well. And that brings more money into your pocket. You pay less taxes as an individual owning investment properties. You should, okay, if you have a good accountant.
So how do one get started in real estate investment, and what are some of the common strategies that we can use?
So easy way to get started is get a decent down payment, whether by yourself or you're doing it with a partner or partners, more than a group of people do it. That's the first easy way to get started. And once you identify your group you're going to start with or by yourself, you want to look for a multi-unit property, multi-units, multi-family, a property that can carry 2 or 3 different income coming in. Okay, so you can do single family home, just one person renting from you, or you can do like a multiplex or 2-3 levels, or one family upstairs, one family in the middle level, one family in the base level. So that's probably the best way to do investment property in this marketplace. And the reason why you want to go that route is because property price is expensive anywhere in the world right now. Okay, so you need multiple income to carry that property and give you positive cash flow. A single family property not going to cut it for you. You'll be barely breaking even. You got to go fix a roof or something, it goes to the negative cash flow. So you're looking for multi-unit homes, 2-3 units. That's what you're looking for from an investment perspective.
Now that you say that, for someone who hears a single family home, because we're talking to people from all over the world.
Right.
Can you explain to them what is a single family home?
Single family home is a home just you and your family live inside of it. Just one family can live on that property, like a bungalow or whatever it is, just one family. Multi-family would be like 2-3 apartments in the same building. 1 apartment, 2 apartment, 3 apartment. Okay, like 3 different levels. Okay, each individual is different people. They don't know each other. They're separate. So that's a multi-family.
Thank you for that.
It's like they have a different entrance and
separate
sometimes
entrance.
different meters in terms of like paying bills and stuff like that.
Right. Separate entrance, separate kitchen, separate bathroom.
Yeah.
Another question. I know you mentioned about realtors, right? Now, should one use a realtor that is representing both the buyer and the seller?
You can. Some people don't like it. Some people don't. Some people do. Some people don't. It's a comfort level. It depends on how well you trust that realtor.
What is the advantage and the disadvantage with that?
Advantage is what's the advantage? The advantage is the deal can close faster. It's direct communication with both buyers and sellers. The disadvantage is if the realtor if he's biased, it can go against the person he like lease. And then it could be in the other one's favor. That's a disadvantage. But for the most part, the market dictates values of the property. So the realtor don't really tell a person what to buy and how much to pay for it. The market normally tells you that. All the realtors doing is, most realtors, all they do is customer service for the most part. So, okay, you want to buy this house? This one's sold for this price, this one's for that price, and this one is asking for this price. You choose what you want to pay for it. So even when you're doing what we call multiple representation situation, the realtor really is not going against anybody for the most part. He's pretty much could be fair, or it's hard to not be fair in that situation.
Now, for say a group of 5 young men watching this, or 5 young ladies, or 5 young people watching this program, and one of them don't have the money to buy a multifamily unit, would you recommend that they put the money together to buy it? What are the advantage and disadvantages of that?
Absolutely. The advantage is you get the cost of entry is ridiculously low on each individual. And the other thing is you get a high quality property that you would never have to afford to buy by yourself. None of them have to afford to buy it by themselves. But partnering up together, they can buy a beautiful 3-family, 4-family, 2-family home. The other thing is now, individually, you can get a single family home, which can probably break even, give a negative cash flow. But a multi-family, you have positive cash flow from day one. You just got to share it. You're sharing the costs, share the benefits, right? So I would absolutely recommend people partnering up with each other and buying a multi-family property, especially as your first home. That's crazy. 4 years down the line, you can walk away with a big chunk of money and buy your own single family home for yourself with a decent down payment. Now you can afford to buy real estate because you have cash now.
No, the whole night we have been asking you questions. Now, as an investor and a realtor at the same time, do you think we left out something that you think is very important that you would want the audience, the Kommon Cents fraternity, to be aware of about real estate, or some stigmas that people might have to it?
The number one question you guys forget to ask me is how young should you start?
Well, I think based on your experience, you tell us you started at 19.
So,
Well, is that a good age?
So you want to answer that question?
That's right. So the age to start real estate is age 18. Any day past 18 years of age, you start losing money. And 18 years of age, if you don't have the resources to start, you better get your parents backing you or something. Uncle, auntie, whoever it is. Every day you don't own a property, you're losing out on money. When you come to my free wellbuilding seminar, I'm going to go through the details of how real estate work, how your value system work when it comes to money, and teach you how to start pricing yourself properly with real estate. We have something called making money while you sleep. Real estate affords you that opportunity. How much are you worth right now? We call your billable time. Right now, where you're sitting right now, how much money are you making? What are you worth per hour? Okay. In real estate, your billable income is every hour. Because as long as that property is being rented out, somebody's paying you. You can calculate that number over your portfolio. What's your billable hour? Now, if I take away in real estate investment from most people, the billable hour is like $1 hour. You're literally making $24 a day or something like that, right? So people billable hour is very low. With real estate, that number goes up and up and up and up every single year as that property goes up in value or you purchase more and more real estate. And that's so important. Every day past age 18, you're wasting time and you're wasting money if you don't own real estate investment.
That's a great. I love how you put it. I have a quick question. How many ways can you make money from real estate?
A couple ways. The first way is positive cash flow. So, I mean, your carrying cost for this property is $4,000. Your income is $5,000. The difference is positive cash flow. That's one way. The second way is the mortgage pay down. So the mortgage paying down, you're paying $4,000 a month in mortgage payment. You got $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 a month going towards your principal. Okay, yeah. So that's the second way of earning money. Your third way is tax break. You get tax break from your property against your personal income. The other way is appreciation. As the property go up in value, so is your net worth. It's not with earning money. Another way is not always the case. You can make money from charging for parking. laundry and this kind of stuff. You can make extra money like that. So those are some of the things you can charge and make extra money on real estate. But the two major one is tax break, appreciation, and positive cash flow, which is right down the pipeline of multifamily properties.
Now, everybody buys property with the intention of making money. But what can cause a property to devalue? Because that can happen too, right?
Yes. Unforeseen circumstances, something like a hurricane, something like COVID, something like the financial crisis, 2008, and a war, World War III. Any unforeseen circumstances, major impact at a local area. Employment, mass employment. Like if, for instance, in the financial crisis in 2008, we had over 80% of people left Detroit because there's no work. The property value just lose value like crazy. Things like that. Now, does that happen every year in any city in America? No, it doesn't, but it happens ever so often. Okay, so those are the things you can, ice storm, any unforeseen circumstance it can cause, or disruption of people's life can cause the negative effect of real estate.
Now, this is my last question to you. How do you know when that $10,000 you have is now that you invest in that property to buy that property or whatever you put in that property? When do you know that it's actually making a profit?
Well, it's all based on market assessment, right? So if you buy a property at, let's say, $100,000, you put $10,000 down. Every 6 months, let's assume 6 months, a year from now, that property is worth 120. You already start making money. It's worth 200,000. You're already making money. The market tells you that. Okay.
How about in cash flow?
Cash flow, you should know immediately. Literally 30 days after you close your property, you should know if you're getting cash flow or not. More important, even before you buy that property, you should know if you can get cash flow or not based on your market research. You should know your income you can get for the property, you know your mortgage amount, utility costs. And you can do all those calculations even before you sign any contract, which is highly recommended. If you're buying for positive cash flow purpose, you got to make sure you do your market research. Income, cost and income. What's your mortgage rate going to be like? What's your interest rate going to be like? Calculate all your monthly carrying costs. And then you move forward and purchase if it makes sense. Now, depends on where you're at. Some properties don't give positive cash flow, but the appreciation is crazy. It goes high, fast. So you got to pay attention to that. There's a lot of places that will give you good cash flow, but depreciation is very, very slow. So you got to make sure you balance those two. In some key markets that we in, we want both. We're greedy. We want both. Okay, I don't want just high cash flow and low appreciation because cash flow is good. Cash flow keeps your property going. Appreciation makes you rich faster. So we want appreciation. You want to retire young? You want to retire rich? You need a fast appreciating market that goes up like crazy. And that's where location comes into play. So if I have to sacrifice my cash flow, either break even or a little bit less for a fast appreciation, I'm willing to do that any day, all day long. Because appreciation makes you rich, young.
I like the way you say that. But if I may add to what you're saying.
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is if you have $10,000 and you put it down on a property, right? The property is, say, $200,000. You put $10,000 down on that property. Your mortgage is $500, but when you rent out that property, you're making $1,500. You realize that every month, after light bill and everything, water bill, taxes, insurance, everything, you realize you're walking away with roughly $900
profit
every month.
Yeah.
Right? What I would say with someone is how soon you make back that $10,000, even though the property you paid $200,000 for it.
Right.
How soon do you?
It was in a year or less. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
And plus your property is appreciating and it still have the value.
And you have the tax break as well. So your rate and rate return can be very high if your numbers look like that. But I don't see too many places have numbers like that though.
I'm just throwing it out here.
If you can get those numbers, that's really good. Like you get
That's really good.
The cost is $500 and you got $1,000 a month positive cash flow. That's sick. That's good numbers, man. I saw that in my whole life on real estate once in the Toronto area. Guy bought a property for $137,000. His monthly carrying cost was $1,100, and his income from the rent was getting $2,100 a month. Once I saw that. So that's close to the numbers he's talking about.
That's better, actually. But that's good, man.
I'm going to pass it back to the host, Jackson.
Actually, I'm going to let Witter close.
Pass it back to you, Mr. Witter.
Well, I must say, Frank, we really appreciate you coming here to discuss these information because it's information that is needed.
Yes, absolutely.
I have learned a lot. I'm sure the other hosts also learned a lot, and our audience.
Definitely.
But just to plug, again, could you advise us about your seminar again and when it is and how to be a part of it?
Yes, my direct line for my office is 1-888-88-REMIC. That's 1-888-88-REMIC or 1-888-887-3642. We have a free wellbuilding seminar coming up on May 19th, and I think it's 6 or 7 p.m. Contact us. You get a Zoom link, and you register, friends and family. Here's what you do. Get the whole family sitting in the living room and attend the webinar together.
That's so true.
Family education. Family financial education is going to be a blast. I haven't done a seminar in over 12, 13 years. So we have all those information from then plus some. So it's going to be a blast, a lot of information. And we're ready. We have a good team in place. And all the research has been done. Educate people in a step-by-step format and how to invest in real estate and be financially successful. So you too can retire young. You can retire rich.
Well, I'll tell you something, Frank. You already have me being a part of that. That's a must. And I would encourage our viewers to definitely go ahead and check it out. Again, it's a pleasure having you here at Kommon Cents University. And looking forward to hear more on the seminar. All right?
Yes.
Jackson, anything before we go?
I feel like Frank, if I'll come back and do a real estate investing 101 separate, because those last few questions, I feel like there is so much more to be said there. But this is just the introduction to real estate.
Yes.
So
yes.
Frank, you're always invited, as you know. So
absolutely.
Definitely.
Anytime. I love helping people, I love educating people, and anything to make people change their life, I think is so important, especially in our community where we have so many opportunities that we're not taking. And I think we need more platform like this, Kommon Cents platforms, spreading the word and showing people that there's a different way of life other than our common known. Non-common sense grandparents and parents come from. They never translate the information the right way, and because they probably didn't know it the right way, how to translate it. But we have an opportunity because we have social media. We have some of the smartest group of our people in places today, and we have the information is there, so we can push the information and get people changing their financial situation. And this is a worldwide problem everywhere you go. Our people are taking advantage of the opportunities right in front of them.
And that's what knowledge is wealth.
Man. That's right.
You know what I mean? And once you can pass it on to your children, you're then learning to build the wealth of your generation.
Absolutely.
I want to ask everyone again, go ahead and subscribe. Utilize the comment section if you have any questions, and share with a friend or two. Kommon Cents, make it make sense. See you next time.
Yeah.